We are having a very lively discussion this morning with our guest, Koigi Wamwere. And before the break, we were arguing, actually, it was a free-for-all about your record as a public official. And so to wrap up that part of the discussion, you were challenged about your record as Assistant Minister for Information. To wrap up that discussion, do you think that your personal sacrifice, the torture, the detention, the years of exile, are worthy of the Kenya we have today?
To be quite honest, I think not. But not entirely, because we have made quite some progress from what we used to be. We don't have a one-party dictatorship. We are able to sit here and argue. We have private media, which we didn't have. This country was simply a hell, and we have come a long way. But we still have to take our people from the desert, where the majority of them are, to the promised land. And I think for us to be able to do that, we need more transformation than inclusion of reformers into a government that actually doesn't belong to them, which uses the presence of reformers to entrench the status quo rather than change the society. And to change the society, in my view, I feel that we need politics without dictatorship in the same. I think we still have dictatorship in our government structures.
A lot of these reformers, as we see them, we will always have reformers come into power and become worse.
No,
than
reformers,
the people who they've kicked out.
Reformers have, the reformers you are talking about are a few ministers in Kibaki's government. This is Kibaki's government. This is not Raila's government. And I'm not excusing Raila's weaknesses. I think he has them. I believe that Miguna is saying something in his book that we need to listen to. And I think that reformers need to be warned, and they need to be asked to explain what their vision was. Did they fight for inclusion into the government, that is, or did they fight for transformation of society?
They fought for their turn to eat.
Well, you cannot speak for them. I think you should call them to this show
you can see what they are
and
doing.
ask them. I'm trying to answer for some of them, and you are not letting me answer. I am saying that what the dream we had was a dream of transformation.
Yes.
We had a dream of politics without a dictatorship. We had a dream of an economy that was not dominated by theft and corruption. That we wanted a society that is not a jungle society. What we have now is a jungle society. Despite all the steps that we have taken forward, the fact is that this system that we have is still a man-eat-man society. Our society is jungle-like. That's why we have corruption. That's why we have negative ethnicity. That is why we have the kind of poverty that we see breeding jiggers all over the country. And I'm saying that without this, we cannot have the transformation that we want without better leadership, without a socio-democratic system different from the one that we have, and without leaders with a proper ideology.
Let me ask you this. Raila was categorized as a reformer. Even today, he thinks he's a reformer. When he was given an opportunity to form a government in the coalition government, Kibaki, what kind of people did he appoint? To show from the very beginning, here he was a reformer. Did he appoint reformist members of cabinet?
Mutagi Jao, some time back, I wrote an article where I said that Raila may not be the savior that maybe this country needs. I don't know whether you remember reading an article like that or not. I was trying to warn my friend Raila to say that, Raila, you cannot eat your cake and have it. You have to choose whether you want to be on the side of reform or you want to be on the side of the status quo. I was looking at Raila's company, and I could not believe that people like Jonjo have become champions of change in this country. That people like Timama, people like Ruto, people like Musalia Mudavadi, that these are the people that Raila is depending on to create a better future for this country. We have told him that much as reformers, and talking to one of our own. But of course, Raila, Orengo, and all the others in the government are free to make a choice. But the choice they make they don't make that choice on behalf of all reformers. We should crucify them as individual reformers, but not crucify each and every reformer. Some people refuse even to come back, people like Ngugi, because they feel frustrated by the way we have been managing things since we came to the end of a one-party dictatorship. There are still great reformers in this country. Give them a chance. And don't condemn them simply because Raila has failed. Therefore, every reformer has failed.
Are you suggesting that Kibaki, therefore, is not a reformer?
Oh, he has never been a reformer. Kibaki? What are you talking about, Makali? We should end this talk. I mean, what are we talking about?
Are you serious?
Of course.
But you are saying change has occurred under Kibaki's presidency.
Do you remember?
Is in that reform? Or
there are many changes that come despite the leadership, despite the government. As a media house, you need to know this. Do I have to tell you this?
We have our own view.
Do you think that Moi allowed all the changes that we have? That Kenyatta allowed all the changes that Kenyans were able to get despite his one-party dictatorship?
Just to add on before you continue.
The changes we have in this country have been despite its leaders. And the leaders that we inherited from the colonial system have remained the system.
Understood.
This is why this country has continued to fail.
But Koigi, listen. Listen, before you just finish that. I mean, very good. You've categorized Kibaki as an unreformer.
You remember that phrase? That you do not cut a mugumo tree with a razor blade.
But listen, two things. One, you served in his government. During that time, you were not very outspoken. About the things you're talking about, the reform,
Did you
the
give me a
lack
chance?
of distribution.
Did you give me a chance?
Makali to give you a chance? Or
of course
Kibaki
you were in the
Kenyans?
media. Did you ever give me...
But you have KBC.
Chief,
What are you
who gave
saying?
you a chance?
What are you saying? I just complained about KBC.
No,
I have more complaints to make against
your
private
obsession
media.
about the state
you
media.
could hardly give us a chance to say,
Okay,
to
let's
say
not
our
go back
mind.
there.
What are you saying?
Let me finish
Move
what
away
I was
from the
saying.
media, David, your question.
The second part is that despite your proclamation just now that Kibaki is a non-reformer, you know,
He never has been, and
why
that has
is
been my
it?
position.
Why is it that since you left government, you've been out here the last 4 years, you have not been very outspoken or critical of what you see as wrong within this administration until now?
I want to make it very, 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 very clear. I know that even here, royal media, there are times I have been invited to come and suddenly decisions have, a different decision has been made. Don't call him. Why? Because probably somebody fears that what I will say is not palatable. Do you think that I can walk into the studio? Wait.
Too much.
Do you think that no. I am a media person. I know what happens in the media. Okay. We are not angels. Okay. And media should accept that you censor people. If I wrote a piece now on what is going on and send it to the nation or send it to the Standard, they'll probably not publish. And you don't call me to your shows to hear my mind, then you accuse me of not talking my mind? Kibaki. What are you saying? Okay. You're trying to crucify a victim, somebody whom you have, whose turn you have taken out, and you still want him to speak. You are no different from the people of Subukia, who voted me out, but they want me at the same time to speak for them. It is not possible.
But you're here speaking your mind.
After a whole year. How many times have I been here?
Cheche has been on air for 4 months. Cheche has been here for 4 months. But you talk about your articles.
If you want to hear more of me, invite me more and more, and you will hear what I have to say on all the issues we have in the country.
We're running out of time, so we've got to be judicious with how we spend the time. David, your question.
Okay, let's move on from Koigi. I mean, let's not be bogged down with that particular aspect of why you have not been outspoken. Koigi is a prominent Kenyan who has many platforms to articulate his views. I don't think that he needed to be invited. You can call press conferences, you can attend rallies,
David,
you lead a party. Now, let me move on to something which is critical. Alliances are being formed, G7, you know, ODM. What is the mission of Hoja in all this in the political arena? Where are you heading?
As I said, to be quite honest, some of us believe very strongly against the ideology, negative ethnicity as the ideology of our politics. Some of us believe very strongly that indeed the purpose of politics is not to serve the interests of leaders, party leaders or even government leaders. And if you look at the alliances and the parties that we have, they are all ethnic. If they are not ethnic, they are just championing the interests of the elite. And we are saying we need a different, you know, some kind of paradigm shift in our politics. We need politics that will talk about the issues of the nation, that will promote nationalism, that will put the common man before the leaders. And this is what Hoja Alliance is about. Hoja is issue. Haja means needs of the people. It is terrible. I remember when I was a small kid of 13, going to hear Kenyatta speak in Nakuru Stadium. And the only reason I would walk almost 30 kilometers to the meeting was because I believed that what I would hear about in the meeting was about my future, not about the future of Kenyatta. Right. And we have already departed from that, and I think that's why we found the great need for Hoja.
Okay,
now
I hope it will grow.
Now you said that you lost because presidents and because of money and because of tribalism. All these factors remain
Constant.
They're constant. Nothing has changed. So what's the future of Hoja and people like
we must continue to fight money. We must continue to fight negative ethnicity by campaigning, taking positions against this. We must educate people that proper leadership does not necessarily come from people with money or people who ask voters to vote for them merely because they come from their particular communities.
But if you go to a public rally in Nakuru, where you come from,
yes, will I tell people that?
And you expect attendance, and if Uhuru goes there, who will get more people?
Let me tell you, if we were of the kind of mind that you are trying to impose on me now, we would not have fought for changes in this country. When we started the road of fighting for democracy in this country, many people called us crazy because they couldn't possibly see how we expected to win a war against the government. It took a long time, many years, but finally we succeeded. And I believe that if we have committed leaders in this country, people who want to promote nationalism.
Where are they? Where are those people? Where are those people?
I am one of them. You should be happy that at least I'm there. And there are many others.
There are people
only that you don't know. Let me tell you, if people want good leaders, Kenya has them. But Kenyans must notice them. If they want bad leaders, of course, they will find plenty of them. It is really a question of what kind of leaders Kenyans want to choose.
Okay.
Right now,
very quickly, we're running out of time.
They have been choosing bad leaders deliberately.
Yeah.
And what we are trying to tell them, please, you will never leave the desert of poverty as long as you are following these your ethnic chieftains. They will take you to hell. Please abandon them. Think. Okay. But they are not thinking.
Okay, we're running out of time. We have to close the program, so we'll be very quick. You've written against an Uhuru Kenyatta presidency. I'll ask you now, what is your take on William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta standing for presidency? Do you think they should?
I don't think they should not stand. It is not fair. It's whether they are guilty or not guilty, they must allow the court process to clear their names. I think they are putting this country into a serious crisis when they offer themselves for presidency. I think that I cannot even think what kind of situation it will be if one of them is elected president and is giving his inaugural speech from a cell in The Hague. It is crazy. It doesn't make sense.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense. I think that they should be nationalistic enough. They should be patriotic enough. We went into detention and we came out and we are alive and in leadership. Uhuru's father was detained by the colonialists for 7 years. He came out and he assumed the leadership of this country. Being taken to The Hague cannot be the end of the world for Ruto or Uhuru. And they should truly give that gift, make that gift to this country. Self-sacrifice, say, for now, we are removing ourselves from the race. We will come back because going to jail is not to die.
Okay, and very quickly, some of the social ills that have been troubling Kenya, carnage on the roads, alcoholism, because you talk about looking after the masses, the common mwananchi, how would you address these problems?
I would address these systems by trying to pick a leadership, or trying to work with leaders that believe in transformation, that believe in uplifting the common people, and really doing whatever is sensible. And I think I would also address the question of the system. What kind of system do we have? I've had some people quoting Albert Einstein that it is insanity to continue doing the same thing the same way and expect different results. Now, we are equally guilty of insanity as Kenyans when we continue relying on the same system that has produced poverty, that has produced corruption, that has produced unemployment, that has produced negative ethnicity, all our ills, and still expect the same system to solve this gamut of problems. I think we need to be sober and say, even as we have a new constitution, we need a new system for this country. I know of that social democracy does deliver heaven to people on earth. I have been to that heaven and I came back. I saw it. I know it is possible. But that cannot happen under the kind of system.
You suggesting Norway is heaven?
Patrick Mungai in Nairobi. Just a minute.
Norway is heaven on earth.
Yeah. Patrick Mungai in Nairobi suggests a different alternative. He's suggesting a two-party political system. He says that all the minds on
once
this
you
table
move from 10-party system to two-party system, you'll be just a step to the next stage, which is one-party system. Right. That's how we got to the one-party state. At one time, by the time we got our independence, we were a multi-party state. But gradually, we moved in that direction. And I know people like Nguyai who talk about Central Province people, that they should vote for dogs. They are taking us to the one-party dictatorship.
Okay, and that will have to be the final word. We have overrun. Our thanks to Koigi Wamwere for a very lively discussion this morning, along with Mutegi Njau and David Makali, and to all of you who shared your opinions. I'm Odwaka Mimo. That's Cheche this week.